from all imaginations. Dhimataha, the enlightened, which is brought about with discrimination. Pracharaha, the conditions. Sahatu, Sah tu is but that. Vigneyaha is should be known. Sushupte, in deep sleep. Anya, of another sort. Na tata samaha, is not like that, means of a peacefully controlled mind. Okay, you want to read, Manju?
The behavior of the mind that is under perfect control, which is free from all imaginations, sankalp, and which is brought about with discrimination should be known. The condition of the mind in deep sleep state is altogether of another sort, and it is not like that of a peaceful controlled mind.
So I just want to give you a little background, because I know sometimes the language can be very confusing. So he's just going to tell you that, that last stage, sushupti, what is the difference between the sushupti and nirvikalp samadhi?
सुषुप्ति में पूरा उसको नहीं हुआ है, निर्विकल्प समाधि में मतलब कि he is absolutely established.
Right. That's true.
You're not, you're not in deep sleep. You are not, you don't have control.
Basically, it's a ignorance.
Yeah.
The thing has not gone away. Parda dal gaya hai.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And here in nirvikam samadhi, all the things have just dissolved. You don't.
Yeah.
It's that's what. So just if we have that background, we'll understand it. That's all.
To those who have been following the Master's discourse so far, a doubt can come as to whether the Master is meaning only that state of mind which is very well known in the deep sleep state. For we have so far been told that the Supreme Consciousness is a state wherein the mind is not entertaining any object of perception from the outer world, and that it is conscious only of itself. The only known experience of the type to be deluded is the experience of deep sleep, where there is no perception of the pluralistic world of the waking or the dream states. In order to avoid such a misunderstanding in the minds of the students, Bhagwan is here expressively explaining the condition of selfhood as distinctly different from the deep sleep state of consciousness. We must not forget that the Karika is a glossary written upon the Manduk Upanishad. We have been told by the scripture of the three planes of consciousness, the waking, the dream, and the deep sleep. The Rishi and the Shruti indicated to us that there is fourth plane of consciousness called Turiya. Having reached which is the pluralistic world will not be cognized any more by the realized one. Here we are shown that the Turiya state exactly is.
So everybody should remember now that we have studied so much those three different states, and the fourth is the Turiya. So here the explanation is of Turiya, but he's just telling you how it's different from the deep sleep. Because deep sleep also same thing happens, mind is not working or it is shut down, and it's kind of a similar thing happens in Turiya, but there is a huge difference still. That's what he's going to talk about. Yes.
In Mantra 7 of the Upanishad, through the language of negation and assertion, the Shruti emphasizes upon the nature of Turiya. But we, being endowed now with such an imperfect equipment as our mind and intellect, it is perhaps possible that some of us have not understood it properly. The expressions in this shlok are to be followed very strictly in order that we may have at least an intellectual understanding of what is Turiya state is. At the moment of intense meditation, mind should naturally be under perfect control, but that mental control should not cause any suppression of mental activities.
So here comes what you just said, what Kamalaji was saying over there, That mind has to be controlled. Yes, true, but he's going to tell you what kind of control you need. Because if you just एकदम like मुझे ये नहीं करना है ऐसे करके करो, and we don't without understanding, तो वो जैसे कि एक बॉटल में कुछ बहुत भर के रखा ना, एक दिन वो ज्वालामुखी की तरह फूटेगा, you know. But if with understanding, if you do, then only it will just disappear. And that's why they say that ये जो काम क्रोध लोभ मोह वगैरह है ना, by doing the correct sadhana and by understanding, वो अपने आप ही छूटता जाता है. Because if you're going to tomorrow, we cannot say like this, oh, I know that greedy is bad and I know I should do this. From tomorrow I'm going to do it. You try. You will fail miserably. But if you sit down, think about it, meditate upon it, find the reason, and they say, yeah, it is so useless because of this reason, and the reason you really, truly believe in your heart, then only, you guys agree? Then only it will happen. And then you don't even have to make a great effort. It will automatically happen.
According to me, you can think upon these things so many times, but you have to start taking steps, okay? To achieve this goal, what I need to do is, I start doing this first. And let me do this slowly and slowly.
हाँ वो करना तो पड़ेगा, but what I'm saying that without, because कई लोग ऐसा करते हैं ना, जैसे कोई
जबरदस्ती
रिलीजन में ऐसा होता है, भाई मैंने बोल दिया तो you have to do this, that's it, no question asked.
And sometimes you have to take that step also.
For a little children it will work.
That I have to do it. like this fast thing, I just told myself.
But why did you do it? You told yourself. If somebody said just go do fast and don't tell you why you are doing it, would you do it?
No.
That's the point.
It's my own thing, but
you had
control
trust.
That mind, I just gave command to my mind.
No, but you did it with full understanding. You knew, you had faith. If I do this, I'm going to be healthy because I have seen other people do it, and I have faith in my That's what it's talking about. That you cannot tell your mind, It has to be with. The more understanding you have, the better results you will get.
Yes.
That's what. And then in the end,
There are more cups in my car. I can bring it.
things start happening. You don't even have to do it. And it's the best example given is, I think this will resonate with everybody, that you take a small 2-year-old, okay, he's attached to that little car, those matchbox cars, you try to take that away from him, you will see how much he'll cry and scream. Yeah. And at a 16-year-old, you go give him that car and say, hey, this is your car. He will throw it in the trash. He will say, he didn't have to drop it because he knows better now. That's what here is talking about, that once you have a better, deeper, you go higher in consciousness, the lower things, it's not that you won't deal with them, because an adult will still play with a little boy with the car. He will sit there and he will say, come on, let's, and he will pretend to be, but in his heart he knows this is not a real car. But that little 2-year-old thinks it is a real car, literally, So that's the point I'm trying to make, that it is so important that with understanding we go on this path, and then it will be a lot easier. Okay. Suppression of the mind.
Suppression of mind is of no process to raise it into the perfection of Godhood. Mind is to be held back from its dirty self-destroying imaginations through a diligent process of discrimination, vivek. Uncontrolled by the intellect, mind should not be brought forcefully to a sudden and jerky standstill. Mental elimination should come about as a result of intellectual conviction and discrimination. A mind controlled by a purified intellect alone can take us to greater realms of spiritual perfection.
That's what he's saying. And then I wrote down over here, see, we always talk about vivek and vairagya, right? Dispassion and discrimination, right? So it's saying it should be vivek janya vairagya. If you just do vairagya without vivek, it will not stick. That's all it's saying. Because there's another word called shmashan vairagya we use karte hain. And that doesn't stick too long. When some death happens in the family, you say, oh yeah, this world is so anitya, and one day it's going to happen to me. That day all of a sudden you become vairagi. Next day, boom, you forget about it. That's what it's saying. So to constantly remember is actually Vivek Chandra Vairagya, that this world is anitya, 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 and even including body. And I think that's the point I was trying to make. I was not trying to undermine what we go through. We are going to go through a lot of as we're getting older. But I think it becomes, dealing with it becomes a little easier. That's what we're trying to do. And then we won't waste so much time ruminating over it. Because that's what we do. Hi, abhi main kya karu, abhi main kya karu. Okay, then we will maybe do some other things that we are able to do. And they are, in Bhagavad Gita, it said, and I think it was chapter 10, that japa is the highest yagna.
Right.
And you know why it said that? Because you can do japa anywhere. Even if you're sick in bed and can't get up, you can still do japa. So that's why it called it the highest yagna, because you cannot have an excuse, I cannot connect with God because I'm sick and I'm this and I don't have time. And you can do it in the bus, you can do it in the plane, you can do it anywhere.
Not for boasting, it's not for boasting when I share things.
Mm-hmm.
I do Gayatri Mantra Japa.
Mm-hmm.
And I just set the goal. Like right now, my goal is again 1 lakh,
Mm-hmm.
and I am at
How many days?
31,000.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So my mind is like, as soon as I sit in the car, I start chanting. It's automatically goes in there.
And so many other negative things stops, because when you are
it stops
focusing,
because otherwise
Yeah,
I was on phone all
Exactly.
the time, and I used to get so many tickets
because you were driving too
because
fast.
my mind is too active. So to control that mind, you need to put it to something. So I put it to japa, and then I started diverting it, that let's set a goal. By doing this, you will get this. So I started doing this thing by setting goals, and then it started working. Earlier it was very hard. When I did first time 1 lakh, it took me several years to finish it. And then now
How do you keep account of it?
my mind, I do on my
Okay,
fingers,
so you
but
kinda
I
know.
become so used to it now that it's
But this mantra Vigyan, Staneshwar ji gives a very good, well, he has a lot of understanding about that, and he was saying that how when you memorize a mantra, and then why memorization was so important. He said these mantras are so power packed that then you own it, and it slowly opens in your being.
Yeah, merges
And
in
it
your
has
body.
so much power and all that. And I think sometimes maybe we should ask him to do one lecture on mantra, because he has so much deep understanding about it. And the rishis were called seers of mantra. Okay,
and it
So-
awakens different chakra. Like
Right.
the Sanskrit words in mantras, they awaken different chakras.
Right, so there are
also.
so many deep aspects, but the point I was trying to say that these mantras are not somebody's imagination or some poetry that somebody just concocted in their head.
Yeah.
Mantras, they come through those rishis. And when they say seer of mantra, means they see the mantra like an engineer would see a bridge. Okay, when I see a bridge, it's just a bridge. But engineer sees, uska strength kya hai, uska ye kya hai, wo kaise bana hai. So they are the seers of mantra. They call
Like
them.
you saw the Ramanuj movie.
Yes, Ramanujan movie is a
You could
perfect
see
example.
the solution of the equation right in front of
From
him.
his eyes, it's just like
In
a
the temple,
picture.
you could
Yes,
see that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so he didn't have paper to write. So he wrote on the wall of the floor of the temple.
There are some people in this world who say, I can talk to animals. And we might laugh at them,
Oh,
but they actually understand the language and emotions. And some people even talk to plants.
Yeah.
But the thing is that if you have caught on to what consciousness is, I was walking with a lady, and that lady was a Taiwanese. So we were walking together after one of the meetings, and an animal came over there. I think it was in UCSD. So
Which
I don't remember which animal it was, but I told her, get away. But what she did? She looked straight at the animal, and the animal was so quiet and this thing.
What was it?
And
Not
because
a- Not a lion.
no, not a lion, but
I mean, you don't
I
remember
forgot-
the animal?
But the way
Was
she
it small or big?
no, small, But the thing is, जो हम
I
लोग
think the
डरते
point
हैं
she
ना,
was trying
the
to
point
say.
that I'm making, that I was comparing myself to her because I was saying what is the reason. So I was telling her, Hajja. But she was looking, straight at the animal, and the animal did nothing
Because
to
they
her.
can understand.
Like how
Yeah,
we do
yeah.
with a pet dog. So when we do with a pet dog, we build up
That
a
love and-
connection.
yeah.
So the consciousness within and the
Connects.
consciousness over there, you are actually connecting the consciousness. Like with plants, we do the same thing. We are actually connecting the consciousness. यही consciousness connect करते 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 अगर आपका जो मंत्र है ना वो बहुत जल्दी work करेंगे if you understand the consciousness once you grasp this part of it. And also हम लोग को one guru I went to वो बोलते थे कि देखो मन को ना उसको धोने की मत करो कुत्ते की दुम के जैसे कपड़े को जैसे धोते हैं वैसे कपड़े को धो ऊपर से नील मत डालो हम लोग सफ़ेद कपड़े को नील लगाते हैं ना पर पहले धो करके नील लगाते हैं
या ऊपर से नहीं लगा
ऊपर से नील लगाओगे तो वो कपड़ा गंदा का गंदा रहेगा
That's a good analogy for the mind.
By the way, so one Doberman kissed me on the beach one time. I was meditating.
You were absolutely pure
Some rishi came in the form of a Doberman.
But this Sunday, I went to the Thaneshwar ji's talk
On
in
Sunday.
Vedanta. I sent you the thing.
Yeah, I have not got
It's
a chance
so
to.
good. And he's talking about same what you're saying about consciousness.
Yeah.
So he says that this, he gave one example that this journalist, he was documenting all the Indian philosophies. So he went to this guy, Abhinav Gupta or whoever the starter of the Kashmir Shaivism is, and he says, what is your philosophy and all? So then he said, okay, take this pebble, and he put it in his hand, it became a beetle.
What?
Became a beetle.
Beetle.
Beetle, like and a
A little animal.
Insect.
insect, yeah.
Beetle, okay.
Beetle, yeah.
Insect.
छोटा सा होता है.
Beetle.
So what he says was, I was demonstrating to you that this beetle, this stone had the same consciousness as we have, and he moved this cycle 2 million years to convert that into a beetle. So the idea he was saying was, is consciousness everywhere.
Everywhere, yes. Even in the stone.
And the other interesting thing he said was, the human being has a very elastic, it's like very elastic. He says, we are conscious of our body. If somebody hits you, you feel bad, right? But you are also connected to your wall of the house. If somebody is breaking the wall of your house, you are upset. He's not hurting you, but why are you upset? Because we have moved our consciousness to connect to that. So he has a very good talk, you should listen.
And हम लोग नाड़ी परीक्षा करते हैं ना आयुर्वेदा में.
Yeah.
So I was asking Dr. Basant Lad, कि कैसे होता है ये इसका.
हाँ.
So he told me the same thing, consciousness. And when you do it, you have to connect with the consciousness of the other person.
Right.
And then
Healing also
very
same thing,
easy.
yeah.
You know, along the same lines, the last lecture that he had on Ishavasya, he said a very interesting point. He said that he has met many different sadhus and yogis in his life, and he said there's one person who can read your mind. He thought that that's what it was, right? So he said he would go in his satsang, and whatever question he had in his mind, the guy would start answering.
Yeah.
So he kind of, oh my God, what? How did he know? So finally he asked him. He's saying, "Bhai, can you read my mind? How do you know?" He's saying, no, I'm not reading your mind, but your consciousness connects to mind, and the question comes up in my own head.
Right.
It's not like okay, वो उसका सारा mind पढ़ रहा है. It just some kind of transfer happens, and he sees that question in his own mind. So he's saying that that's what it is, and that's how we are connected. Because sometimes we get all confused, and we get so fascinated, falana, because
I
he's so
met this
pure.
guy Chakradhari in Cerritos, and he used to do the same. And he will write down, you say write down your question, and he'll know it, and he'll give you the answer, and right in front of us. And we never told him.
Okay, let's finish this. That's good. I think
Yeah.
we had a good discussion. Where were we? It is for this reason, right?
It is for this reason that we have the description of Lord Prathashastri.
Parthasarthi, that is Krishna's name. Parthasarthi.
Parthashastri, holding the reins of the 5 horses in Arjun's chariot. When this picture is read in the context of
Kathopanishad.
Kathopanishad, analogy of the chariot, we understand that the charioteer must be the representation of pure intellect. Thus, when a sadhak controls his five sense organs by the mind pulled tight by his pure reason, that individual alone can make a safe journey to the infinite.
Okay, I just want to. Partha is Arjun. Sarthi means everybody knows what Sarthi. That's why it's called Partha Sarthi. And then this has whole analogy has come from Kathopanishad, because Bhagavad Gita is the sar of all the Upanishads. In Kathopanishad, the detail of the whole chariot, तो उसका सिंबलिज्म है that कृष्ण भगवान के जो 5 घोड़े हैं ना, वो 5 इंद्रिया और मन है और वो कंट्रोल में है. So that's what he's saying, that when that, it's not like, we cannot say that the sadhu mahatmas don't get tempted. They also see the same world, but they have a perfect control. They know it is useless to go and here and there run. You just keep it under control. Use your mind when you need.
घोड़े जो हैं, they are the mind.
Senses.
No, घोड़े are senses.
Senses.
घोड़े are
Five
senses.
senses.
Five senses.
Yes, the mind is लगाम को ऐसे खींच के रखा हुआ है, वो है.
वो घोड़े are the
घोड़े
mind,
तो-
और उसको तुम खींच के रखते हो.
माइंड 5 थोड़ी होते हैं.
माइंड तो एक ही है.
So वो 5 जो
5
इंफॉर्मेशन
इंद्रियाँ.
आता है ना,
इंद्रिया जो आँख, नाक,
या उसकी
कान,
सिंबलिज्म है वो.
अच्छा,
Yeah.
हमें वो अच्छा गीता का.
वैसे.
You can go and read the Kathopanishad.
Yeah.
You will get it. Yeah. So
This is-
we will one of these days we'll do the symbolism of the whole chariot, because the Rathi is भगवान पीछे बैठे हुए हैं और जो अर्जुन है वो जीव है.
Actually, yeah, that's the confusion here, because we studied Vedas, and in Vedas Gita came later. So in Vedas they gave the example, but they put ghoda as your mind, and then you are controlling your mind with your
See, many times this is what happens, that in Upanishad
That
they
Buddha is
do.
not in the chariots. These are
Yeah,
5
exactly.
horses,
That's what.
got
When you
5
talk about
horses
this, yes,
riding a chariot. That's different.
he's correct. You can take a ghoda example in a separate
Right,
way,
by
and then you
itself.
can do it.
No. That is, they gave the example of chariot, but with one ghoda, and that in that one.
हाँ, एक घोड़े वाला chariot, you're right.
Mind.
That symbolism will be different. All
उससे
I'm trying
5
to say-
लगाम लगाई गई.
Yeah,
कुछ
इसमें
confusion है.
नहीं
मेरे को कोई confusion नहीं
नहीं,
है.
that one is she's
My guru is guiding me throughout.
नहीं तुम कुछ पूछने वाली थी, मेरा मतलब.
So all I want to say is that they sometimes use contradictory things, because एक example को वो 2 ढंग से भी लेंगे. So but वो हम लोग का काम है कि उसमें से सार निकालना उसका.
Yeah.
So we should not get stuck
So
with the
it's
example.
not
That
five
doesn't matter, but
senses
this.
को control करो, the one.
Yeah. So now he's saying that with reason he has controlled it. It's not कि जबरदस्ती, but he knows what it is. Okay, go ahead.
It is a reason.
This is exactly the reason.
It is for this reason that we have
read
the.
that,
I've read this.
Yeah, you have read that
I've
next
this.
one.
This is exactly the reason why many sadhaks feel themselves ruined after years of meditation, when they come to feel that there is no progress in them. The difficulty is that they try all along to control the mind with force, and ultimately they succeed in suppressing the mind and not in sublimating the mind. Thus, there are many a sad story of yogis who, having lived years of life in solitary caves in perfect sadhana, have walked out of it like devils, lusty and baneful, passionate and egoistic, more than when they first went into the retirement.
So we already discussed in detail that
Yeah.
why sublimation is more important than suppression. Yeah.
These are examples of distorted minds that have been squeezed out of their shape and symmetry by mere forceful jamming. Here, the master is warning the sadhak of this danger, and he says that all imaginations of the mind should be steadily and slowly removed through the direct application of his discriminatory intellect. When the mind is thus brought under control with discrimination, the state of its sublimation is not anything like the dull inherent experience
Inert experience.
inert experience in stupor or sleep. In sleep, certainly the mind is not active, and yet it is only in an important state wherein the mind, with all its impressions, vasanas, is only for the time being drowned in ignorance. But when the mind is consciously purified, then the mind sublimates, and what remains is not the knowledge of the ignorance, but a knowledge of the knowledge. It is not a negative existence remembered as happy, but it is a positive, dynamic being experienced as bliss.
So he told us the very important difference that in sleep it is drowned in ignorance, whereas yogi's mind is so pure that it's just knowledge of the knowledge is there. He sees the world, it's open eyes, but he knows what the world is and what the consciousness and who he is and all those things. So this is like for him it's very positive dynamic experience of bliss. That's why the bliss. And bliss का कोई opposite नहीं है. There is sad and happy का है, मगर bliss is beyond that. Bliss is beyond sad and happy. It is a state of like, and a lot of people who have been in that, they will tell you that how it feels. So much joy and happiness they feel. So I think we don't have time to do another one, so we'll just stop here.
Just 12:30.